Hi all, welcome to SHOWstudio's video review series. I'm SHOWstudio fashion editor Georgina Evans. You can probably guess what I'm about to review. It's Prada Spring Summer 20, the most arguably hotly anticipated show on the schedule. I'm standing right in front of the Fondazione Prada, which is where the show shows every season. So last season, lots of Frankensteinish, slightly punkish, gothic, stomping boots and padded pockets and rose prints as a kind of retaliation to the political climes that we're in. Spring Summer 20, completely different ballgame. Every time the Fondazione is just transformed into a completely different scene. And when last time we had foam spikes, this season we had almost a glacy tiled floor in kind of the Prada colour tones. But these colour tones are almost Bauhaus tones. So you've got that Prada candy pink, yellows, blacks, occasionally you've got a little black and white stripe, but it's so shiny you can kind of see it reflects like a pool, which immediately makes you feel spring summery, holiday-y, and lovely. And the music this time, in comparison to last especially, last time was Monster Mash meets Rocky Horror Picture Show. This was so calm and serene and beautiful, and totally relaxing. The first look comes out and it's Freya Eriksson in the most divine look. It's a very simple, long-sleeved kind of ribbed top with a slight collar in very light grey, and then a long gauzy cream skirt. And that gauziness is something that's carried through the collection. So light, almost a linen, but done in such a decadent way. So the skirt, relatively simple, but the dresses, there's beautiful draping down the back, ruffles later on, but still with that sheeniness. You can see the grey jumper tucked underneath, which I really loved as a styling element. Then we've got some clumpy loafer shoes as well, sometimes open toes, sometimes sling back. Shoes were completely at odds this season. Normally there's an amazing boot, but this season it was ever so slightly woven shoes in blues and whites. What I will say is, generally speaking, this collection really felt like an exercise in style and personality over clothes. I don't mean that in a negative way. It just really feels like it was about expressing the individual more so than making a statement through an overarching theme, if that makes sense. And it's something that Miuccia Prada is always referencing herself, saying that style is personality, style is more important than the clothes you buy, and this collection was really a pinpoint on that. It did feel like little odes to previous Prada collections. That Freya opening look felt like 90s Prada. There's a lot of 90s Prada nods throughout the collection. There was hints to 20s, sometimes 60s, sometimes 70s. And when you have all these kind of historical references, so big 60s glasses, some kind of 20s style jackets with big buttons on the blazers, the execution on the back and the detailing was really beautiful in this deep chocolate brown, which is so synonymous with Prada, particularly the menswear of seasons past. More kind of slightly flapper-esque makeup, and then 70s stylings, those beautiful knitted vest and skirt combinations throughout in slightly like hexagonal prints, almost ditzy prints, almost carpet prints, but that would be much too degrading to say in a Prada review. But they're beautiful, and the way the vest hung as well, slightly seductive, and that made me feel a little bit 70s. The woven shoe again, slightly 70s. Then there's these amazing draped dresses later on with kind of cascading sleeves on one side and asymmetric, and in peach, which is such a dated colour, but somehow here feels really fresh. And what I'm getting from all these kind of historical references is that this collection actually is somehow timeless because of those references, if that makes any sense. But when you nod to all the past, it's kind of a hint to say reuse, like why not go and buy an older version of this? It's almost like Miuccia was saying, go and find the old Prada version of this. And indeed backstage she was talking about fast fashion and how she often feels, she was saying she feels a little bit to blame for fast fashion, but it's one of those dualities. We need to buy to keep economy going, to feed the beast that is capitalism, as she was saying backstage, but also we need to stop making so much, stop buying so much. So I really love that this collection was an honouring of style rather than substance, and by kind of nodding to a multitude of eras, you're kind of having this everlasting timelessness that lasts. But aside from all of that, it was just really beautiful and entrancing. Some leather floppy hats that curved around in gold, and actually gold was a big theme for the collection. The pillars throughout the Fondazione were gold. Caroline Issa earlier was on the Instagram with a little gold face feature with palm trees and birds flying everywhere, which kind of adds to this kind of wonderful, dreamy, almost call me by your name aesthetic that we had going on throughout the collection. Yeah, it was really beautiful. I feel like I could never do a Prada review without, I feel like that's the Prada curse, is that everyone kind of loves Prada. It's so cerebral, there's so much to unpick, but actually Prada sales have been going down despite it being one of the top 10 brands online and on e-com stores and on American Vogue's top 10. This is the New York Times article I'm reciting to you. So it's quite interesting that now Miuccia is deciding to go into something that has a timelessness, has a last to it. So I think that's a very wise move. I'm interested to know what it is that why it's not selling, but I'm really pleased to see this collection. No pouches, no pockets, no sportswear, no nylon, no nothing that we've seen in the past collections. As much as we all love it, I myself am guilty of a nylon, but I really loved that this was such a huge step away, and I do think that's something that Miuccia does better than anyone else. Is just when you think you've understood what Prada is going to happen, you get lost in the Frankenstein, you get lost in the accessories, you're so excited by the logos and the digital prints, kablam, she takes you back to 60s, 70s, 20s, old school Prada, and the slate is kind of cleaned again and you're trying to decipher Prada once more. It's just kind of the magic of Prada, really. So in case you can't tell, really quite smitten with this collection. I loved the last one, but I would actually say this one tops it just because of all the nuances throughout it. A really spectacular collection. Let me know in the comments what you thought. Like, comment, subscribe if you're watching through YouTube, and make sure to visit SHOWstudio so you can see this fab show alongside my rather now waffly review. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.